Well, that was a year ago.
Yeah. I guess
And
start me off crying. That's a great way to start.
I know I could.
What are you, freaking Barbara Walters?
Yeah. Hey, let's get Lewis on cry in front of camera right at the beginning of the show. It's great for the ratings. I mean, yeah, you were right. It is just the beginning.
It is. It is. We're in the thick of it right now, though, aren't we?
No shit.
Yeah.
Do you want my take on it or your take on it?
Oh, I love your take. Let's go with it.
Okay, so it's done. It is actually done, literally a few days ago, and we are witnessing the meltdown, and we're witnessing the final stages of the crap coming to the surface. We're witnessing the AI lashing out, the tentacles, just grabbing onto one last piece of ego, hatred, anxiety, fear, all those things they love. And our job is to get to the 0 point energy field and just transmute fear and expose as much as we can by coming from a place of complete peace. And a lot of this, I think, is related to Egypt. And this keeps coming up. And there's a few things been going on for me and a lot of other of my starseed compatriots around the world, and that is related to Scotia. Scotia is the princess buried in Ireland, and she was the Akhenaten's great-granddaughter, and Akhenaten was pharaoh of Egypt for 17 years, weirdly, and according to one of my other friends, he was also Moses. And this is all extraordinary stuff because Scotland was named after her. Ireland was Hibernia, and Scotia, and it's all connected to all these ancients. I think that's why I'm in Ireland. I think that's why a lot of things have been going on here specifically, but it's all connected to Egypt, which is also connected to the United States because the United States has a pyramid on the dollar. So it's massively connected to all of that. The spaceship I saw 18 months ago was covered in hieroglyphics, very Egyptian. And there's this awakening going on and the veil falling down. I've seen dragons made of light. Well, I now know who that dragon is, and that was to do with the emerald quartz, the crystal in Ireland that was been hidden, and it's all connected to this past that we don't know about, and we've all been here billions of times, including you and me. In fact, you are me, and there's just one consciousness, and what's going on is that this one consciousness is rising, so there's this grabbing onto the tailcoats, and the way through this is us understanding that we are the gurus we're looking for. We are the saviors. We are the ones who have to roll up our sleeves and get on with the job. We're the ones that change the consciousness by all of our actions. And we're nearly there. And I think it's going to be like that. What's your take?
Well, first, based on my studies, and correct me if I'm wrong, so there's not just a bunch of amazingness that started with Ireland. That's one of the Cabal's original strongholds. I mean, if you study the Druidic versions and the Freemasons and the spell casting, a lot of it actually originated in Ireland, which would make sense because where there's good, the evil wants to try to penetrate it. Yes, there you go. So the evil needs to come and penetrate it and use it and warp it and change it. That's what Satan does. Has to flip everything on his head. So I resonate with what you're saying a lot, just based on my studies of the Druidic challenges that came from Ireland, which are, by the way, Ireland and the Druids are what is the main foundation of Hollywood, and people don't even understand that.
Yeah,
which is very, very interesting. Now, my take on it is, I see a tremendous amount of things that are happening are perceived as negative when they're actually very positive, because this is the last battle of the demons, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And what happens is, and I've said this many times, I believe the way this so-called plan worked is they took down the top tiers, the first tier and the second tier. They cut off the head of the beast. And to give you a physical example about it, I think they virtually took over all federal government and a lot of federal judges and so on and so forth in the US and worldwide. So they took out the top notches. But what happens is they left the rest to we the people. Because if we the people were not vested in this process, we would be right back here in a decade. But we have to be vested in the process. So they're like, okay, we did the heavy lifting on the top. You have to go into your cities, your communities, and your states, and you need to take care of business. And that's where I think we are. But what we're seeing, in my opinion, is the darkness before the dawn. And it's actually really beautiful to see. So what I tend to do, and which you do too, is I find that silver lining and that positive take on everything we're seeing. Because as long as that we're resonating at a down, dark, negative level, we're physically feeding the beast.
Yep.
We're literally saying, here you go, here's your food. So if I turn all these negative stories into some positive, it's got to anger them. That's why I love using the sarcasm and so on and so forth.
They hate it.
Yeah, because they hate it. They're like, no, please don't spin this story like this. So I'm going to have an interview by somebody that's very popular very soon. She's behind the whole, how do we say it, this October 4th doom and gloom scenario. And I know she's going to ask me about it. I'm going to say what I say because I don't believe in that type of fear. I believe in us finding the positivity in everything. And that's how we win the war. They cannot operate under a positive vibration. It doesn't exist. So why just why get upset? Why get fearful? Why hand it to them? Why make it so easy on them? I'm not going to do that. So my take is you're exactly right. And I do see, I just said yesterday, we have a show, as you would call in your neck of the woods, brilliant. And it's called SBG News. There's my tag for our show, but it's really good because we break down all the news of the day.
That's on Rumble mainly, right?
That's on my Rumble channel.
Yeah,
right,
it's great. I've watched a lot of it, and you guys watch
it. It's on my Screw Big Gov channel, which you probably can't find. But
no, it's easy. If you type in Screw Big Gov as one word, you'll find it.
Okay, cool. On Rumble, yeah. Telegram, forget about it. But anyways, that we break down the daily news stories, and I try to find what I'm trying to do. My best is teach people the manipulation that we're hearing, and then I'm trying to give them at least 2 or 3 nuggets a day that you can say, take this one, and you can show a normie. I know you're seeing right now. Look at all the celebrities and athletes and everybody else. I'm literally saying that Satan is trying to run the earth. I mean, the messages that are coming out from these people. Hawaii was a complete setup. It was run by you're seeing these. Fuck the celebrities. It doesn't matter, but use them as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And that tool now is there for you to say, don't impose your will on a sleeper. Give them somebody that they idolizes. Send them their favorite football player, which is a little bit different game in your country than it is mine. Send them their favorite.
We actually play football. You play some gay shit with helmets.
Yeah, we play a much harder game, but we take it and call it football, which is stupid. I would agree.
That was not offensive to gay people, by the way. That I was born in the 70s. That's why.
No, it was a happy. They were talking about we have happy people playing the game, where you have sad people playing your game because it's overcast there all the time. But anyway,
that's true. That's true.
But the reality is, use these so-called celebrities. It doesn't matter if you despise them. Send them to the normies and just say, look what this person's saying, and then shut up. And it's an amazing tool for us right now if we realize it.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. And the other thing is that there's really become clear, which I've been really saying for 3 years since I've been talking on publicly, is that every single thing is there for you. Everything in your life that's ever happened, and I'm talking collectively for the human race, but every single thing. But as you said, darkness before the dawn, and people go, but it's taken so long. Well, it's just a choice. It's because we are creating it. Yeah. And we have to get to that point of 0 point where we go, okay, fuck the fear, fuck all the noise. I am me. I am. And it's all about the sovereignty. I mean, you and me have been doing the same kind of job across the pond from each other, which is all about getting people to take action. And I wanted to come to Nashville and do your thing. And I wanted to go and talk about the healing senses and actually taking action, because it's quite extraordinary when you do.
Yeah,
like you did with the Truth Tour. I've done with my live events in the UK and coming over to the States. When you actually take action, I wrote a blog post years ago called "Step into the Void" and just do it. And I know me and you have very similar paths in terms of business and stuff before all of this shit, where we took risks and we just stepped into the void, and we both had lots of children, and we live in a very sort of abundant kind of mindset, and it works. I mean, I had to answer an email to somebody today who was going, "Oh, you keep saying that people waiting for handouts, but you don't know what it's like to work." Fuck off. My whole family worked their fucking fingers to the bone for centuries, right? And I looked at them as a kid going, I'm not doing this. What are they doing? Why are they doing this? Why are they? I just said, no, I'm not doing it. And the Air Force was my way out. And then after that, I was like, right, what am I going to do? Well, I'm not going to do it. It's a choice. Everything's a choice. You choose to stand up and step into that black void where there's nothing supporting you. I had this conversation with my daughter today. She was going, all of my friends think I'm crazy because I haven't got a job yet, and this, that, and the other. And I said, why would you want a job? You don't need a job. And I set up her Substack today because she showed me some of her writing. 17 years old, and I was reading it, crying, going, this is incredible. And there's a way for you to make a living out of this without getting a job. You go on Substack and and publish a book, because 17-year-olds across the world need to read what you're writing. I was in tears. It was beautiful. And that's what it's all about. It's just standing, everything that you've done, I support as long as I live, because it's about taking action. And I just keep trying to get that message across to people. You don't have to go on YouTube. You don't have to set up a truth tour. You don't have to start a campaign against the government, but it would help if you supported them. It would help if you helped your neighbors and tried waking people up next to you, because we're all trying to save I'm trying to save everybody. I know that, and that's not possible. I am aware of that as well. But if we don't stand up and do it, we're not changing the consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest problem, and I think you'll agree with this, the biggest problem I've seen in the last 3 years with awake people is a lot of them have been sat back going, well, the RV is coming tomorrow, so it'll be fine.
Oh, don't get me started on the RV.
Do you know what I mean? That RV drives me nuts.
So it's interesting. So, I'm starting on the RV. So,
okay, come on, let's have it. Let's have the RV chat. Let's piss off a load of wake people.
All right. So a lot of people don't know this. About 18 years ago, 16 to 18 years ago, within that time frame for 2 years, I was a premier author on the dinar.
Oh, you told me this before, yeah, a while ago.
Which like I would write something and all the top websites would publish my articles, right? It's not a pat on my back, but I want to say that I have some experience in this.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I noticed quickly, it only took me 2 years to figure it out, that every time there was some fantasy of a holiday coming up, that the Iraqi dinar was going to RV on that holiday, right? And I said, well, enough of those, I say now, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, maybe shame on you. Fool me 172 times, I'm an idiot, right? So what happens is I started to really pay attention, and I started to dig into this. Now, in my opinion, is the RV and the Iraqi dinar and these, not all foreign currencies, but many foreign currencies, a legitimate way to gain wealth? Yes, it is. Now, is it a high risk? No, I actually think it's a low risk due to the fact that, unless there's some type of, well, it's not a value, but if they reinstitute and they pull back and they claw back, which they can do, that you'll actually lose money. But I think that's rare. So I think in most cases you can sell it back and get at least 70 to 80% back on your dollar. So it's not the riskiest investment ever. I think it has a lot of upside. The challenge is, again, just like the Patriot movement, people use the messaging for their own benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the most powerful message about RV just came about a month ago. where they said it's done. I guarantee it's done. Look at this person, which I'm not going to name, just said it, and this person just, and I told everybody, I go, you watch, this is going to be total bullshit. I got so much hate because they're so invested into the lies and the hopium.
Yep.
So what I said is, I go, guys, I'm not the smartest guy out there, but I understand markers, and I can tell you that the RV went through some things. They had to go through a Chapter 7, which is a reinstituting through the International Monetary Fund in order to even get position. They had to have a consistent government where they had a budget signed and approved by everybody else, not once, but 2 times in a row. They had to jump through all these hoops. And the most important hoop that nobody would talk about is they had to sign an HCL, which is a hydrocarbon law, with the Kurds, because they made an agreement with the Kurds, which were the only courageous fighting force that was there during the Iraqi wars. The Kurds were. They have a lot of minerals and oil in their ground. So they made an agreement that when we revalue our currency, you guys are going to get a certain percentage of all oil revenue and everything else. They have to sign that. Now that's gone up. I've been told it's signed. I can't see any evidence of it. But I said, until the HCL is signed, I'm not even going to have a discussion of an RV. And then I say the last thing, which really hurts people. I go, common sense would tell you what happened. So am I saying it's not going to happen? No, I'm saying use common sense. Don't jump on the hopium, because guess who wins every time they say that the Iraqi dinar? The people are selling dinar. That's the only people that win. Nobody's cashing in, and they keep saying, well, I know this person cashed in because they said it.
I mean, seriously, it's like I know I get this all the time, and I've been getting, I get these emails from, I've been meeting people that say, oh, I know this guy, he's got a debit card to an account where all our money is. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, have you seen any of this money? No, I'm talking about like the release funds from the birth certificates, like trillions and trillions of dollars. And these people are going around saying, yeah, I've got access to this. I've got a card and I can withdraw. And I've been withdrawing. I said, have you seen them withdraw any of that cash? And I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just saying, just show me the truth.
That's right.
I'll be there all day long. And I come back to the same thing, because God put us in this position and showed us in our lives things that make us have common sense at this time. And in my case, I was following the whole story from Benjamin Fulford from 2012 to 2014 about the Dragon family funds that were supposed to be released because they had these $1 trillion bonds, right?
That's right.
And I moved in next door in Marrakesh next to the guy that was their broker. And I think I've told you this story before. And he showed me the bonds. And then I spent the next 2 years listening in on hundreds of hours of phone calls of them trying to work out how to get these bonds cashed in. And they got all the way to Deutsche Bank. And then the guy at Deutsche Bank stole the money. And they supposedly 220 humanitarian projects worldwide ready to go. And this is amazing. And I saw the pictures of the bonds. I listened to I even listened in on a conversation where Ben Bernanke, who was in the Fed at the time, flew down from Washington down to Buenos Aires to ratify these bonds. And it was all real. This was not on the internet. This was a real thing. So when I got to start doing this show and I started hearing these people talking about the RV, and I was like, oh God. and it's not just that. It's like, what I hate about it is the way it paralyzes people.
Thank you.
Because that's the problem, right? And there was a thing in marketing years ago that I learned from a really great guy. He said it was paralysis by overanalysis. It was like,
I've said it at least a week, every week.
Yeah.
Every
absolutely.
week. That's one of my favorite things.
It's me too. It's brilliant. And it's true. And it's like, as soon as you find yourself stopping, progressing whatever the cause is, then you've been hoodwinked by something. And then you've got to look around and go, well, what's hoodwinked me? What have I been hoodwinked by? And what I love about it, and I relate this back to the mushroom journey I did a couple of weeks ago and the ayahuasca journeys I've done. Life is one great big plant medicine journey. And it's like you go through these gates. It's like, and then you have to pass through the gate because your consciousness has understood the lesson Or that's why God keeps showing people the same lesson again and again and again and again until they get it, and then they move on.
Right.
And it's the same as the Aikido graph, which goes like, you know, you learn loads and then you learn nothing for ages. Then suddenly you learn loads and then you do this and then you learn loads. And it's exactly the same thing. And it kind of frustrates me, but it also makes me laugh because this really feels like a simulation. It feels like a video game. And the only reason I say that is not to belittle. It's really that if you can start looking at it like the observer and find the fun and find the positivity in everything, as you just said, which is actually not that difficult because every single thing you're faced with is positive and negative. Every single thing that people are going on about, Donald Trump, perfect example, positive and negative. He did this for the American economy, but he did Operation Warp Speed and did this for it, and then he did this. It's all like this interwoven kind of web thing, and it's all for you.
Thank you.
It's all
a big lesson. So it's very interesting because you can correlate trust the plan, Nasara Jasara, and the RV all together because they all have one thing in similar. Their effect was not positive. Their effect was freezing people from moving forward in their lives. I don't know how many people I've had literally get a message and say, I can't wait to go to the True Tour as soon as the RV revalues. I will travel over there to be there. I've gotten that several.
I get those emails every day.
Several times. I'll start taking those supplements as soon as the RV does this. I love to go to a Trump rally as long as the RV go ahead and comes through first. But the paralysis that is staged because of this is epic. Now, the IQD, the RV, yes, I believe it's real. It'll happen when it happens. But let's use a little common sense. If the good guys have it, the bad guys have it too. Do you want a bunch of bad guys running around and suddenly they're worth $1 million, and then next thing you know, they're worth over $1 billion? Is that really what you want? Is that what you want? You want to fund? No, we have work to do. Now, Nasara Jasara, is it real? I think it is. The challenge is, again, the messaging. So the messaging about the RV revaluing is fake. It's bullshit. That's how people make money. The messaging about Nasara Jasara, I think it's real and BS. Great example. How are you going to infuse the market with a ton of money, yet hold real estate prices down to the 1950s level? There's a law that is undisputable, and it's called supply and demand. And that would refute that. That's going to be impossible. You can't have both. That was in a lot of the Nasara Jasara documents that are put around. You're going to get all this money infusion. All your debt's going to be gone. You're going to get $3,000 a month, and real estate prices are going to get down to the 1950s levels. Come on, guys, let's use some common sense. That's not true. Now, is there a Nasara Jasara? I believe there is. There's documentation of it. It's going to be wonderful when it happens, but it will happen on God's timing, not my timing. Let me correlate this to trust the plan. In Q, which is proven to be real, by the way, it is a psyop. I believe it's a good psyop. I don't believe it's a bad psyop.
We're agreed.
It's needed because you need to upset and make the cabal dysfunctional because they're trying to figure out your every move by reading something that they have no idea what it means. But then we have our guru interpreters that will tell you what it means, and they're going to tell you, trust the plan, just eat the popcorn, everything's going to be fine. So all three of those things froze you.
But I never fell for the trust the plan thing freezing me. I don't understand when people say that. I saw it as like trust the plan and get off your ass and do something.
Thank you. I reported from the beginning that trust the plan meant we, the people, have to get into action.
Yeah.
And if you trust President Trump, he said it several times. In fact, in his last speech in South Carolina just a couple of days ago, he said the 47th president is, quote, we the people.
Yeah.
I'm saying, guys, so let's just take a little, I like to take a pragmatic approach. So now that we know these things, let's all work together to get this done, because I believe the last action that really has to be handled is we the people.
It's us.
From
It's
the
always been.
city, the community,
Always.
the state level, the local level, we have to do the work. And it's okay. You can do the work. And I understand that it's rough and it's a bear and it's not fun. And you may not reap the rewards that you want in your lifetime. But are we really fighting for ourselves, or are we fighting for the future of the children? I think it's pretty clear we're fighting for the future of the children.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Whatever work I have to be done is well worth it. And I'm not trying to scold anybody that's watching this. I love everybody. I'm just saying it's time to effing wake up and understand that we, the people, are the ones that hold all the power. The cabal doesn't hold the power. President Trump doesn't hold the power. It's we, the people, that hold the power. And as soon as we grasp this, and I have tools that are coming to help people with this, as soon as we grasp that